I actually think the Venezuela thing is probably one of the absolute best moves America could make. Now I'm stating that, and that may be an unpopular opinion, but today we're going to break down why I think that's probably for the best in America, dealing with the hemisphere, dealing with strategic location, dealing with what they have and what we get our hands on. Not only that, have you seen the people of Venezuela? They're grateful. Wait to hear the things that we have now taken over and what this proves to other leaders that shows that Trump is an alpha. Now, I've not agreed with this administration on a lot. They've let a lot of balls that should have been actually scored not be scored. Congress is a waste, and I think it's so funny that Trump did not bring them in for this, because now they're crying, and really they should just stay at the kids' table. We're going to discuss all this today dealing with Venezuela. We're going to discuss what it does for America and what it means. Wait till you hear the numbers. Now, this is coming from some random guy on the internet in South Mississippi. If I'm smart enough to see this, then maybe, just maybe, someone in Congress, someone in the bureaucracy, and of course, Trump himself, along with his administration, can say, this is why. Wait till you hear these numbers. It will blow your mind. And guess what? This is so much more than just Venezuela. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. We are humbled each and every day you come back. Again, we have a video every day going out 5:30, of course some shorts throughout the day, but please remember to follow us, subscribe to us, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It means the world to us and helps us keep pushing our message forward. So thank you so much for being here. Now let's jump into the stories today. Let's talk about what you would probably say an unpopular opinion. And again, as a conservative who does not like war, as a conservative who does not actually believe in forever wars like we did in Afghanistan and Iraq, as someone who wants to see a better audit for the Pentagon, as someone who actually wants America prosperity and America views and America first, all that, that's me. At the same time, I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, but I am a Trump supporter, but I've not been just overly happy with what we've gotten done. I think we could have gotten a lot more done this last year. Now, that being said, government works very slow because it is one big giant. Now, I'm going to tell you why I believe this is probably one of the best things Trump could have done when it comes to foreign relations. Now, a few things to start off. Do I want our focus on America? Yes, I don't want to lose our cities and lose our states while we're trying to save Venezuela. I agree with that. So when we talk about this, this is not a either-or situation when I say this. This is, I want America to thrive. While we're thriving, I want to help other individuals. That's how I look at my life too. I want my family taken care of. I want to take care of them, give them the very best. At the same time, I want to be able to buy Christmas or want to buy dinner or want to help another family too. I don't think it's an either or. I think it's a both. And it does not mean that we're neocons. It doesn't mean that we're going to ever always go to do wars and take out regimes. But this is why I believe this is one of the very best moves by Trump. First of all, let's just go over the outside looking in. No statistics. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the true nuts and bolts to it. But just from the outside looking in, what this proves is you're not going to speak ill will. You're not going to threaten our president. You're not going to just keep on doing something when he warns you not to. And you're not going to just see America as a pushover. I think this was proof with Iran. I think this is proof now with Venezuela, even bigger. And I think what this shows to people like China, Russia, anyone in the Middle East, North Korea, just don't screw around. Don't be using your terms and your a way of thinking of saying that you're gonna topple Trump or hurt Trump, because I don't think that's the smart thing. I think actually the Colombian president now, I imagine he's thinking, boy, I should shut up because I'm the one that actually started this. I'm the one who was kind of egging it on. Me and Maduro was hanging out together, making sure that we're safe, and all of a sudden Maduro's gone. I could be next. Now, there's nothing in Colombia other than a bad leader. I mean, they had like satanic rituals and all that. Nobody wants to talk about that, but they're dangerous too. But this is what I think. I think this proves a point to show you're not going to try to pick on America. I think the tariffs were that. I think the strategic, hit in Iran. I believe all these things are Trump showing I am alpha. Now, as a Christian conservative, You know, of course, we spiritually know that Jesus is our leader, but I do believe that he has set aside Trump for a time like this. Now, do I believe Trump's done everything right? No. Do I believe that he's picked the wrong people for DOJ? Yes. Do I believe that we could do a whole lot more, especially without Congress? Yes. Now, that being said, this was phenomenal. This proves that don't mess around with America. In and out, no casualties on the American side, and we did what we wanted to do. We took out the leader, brought him back for justice. Now, let's go a little bit deeper, because this is where it gets real serious and real fast. Where is Venezuela? Now, you know, we talk about the South China Sea. We talk about China kind of trying to tie up all its areas of mode of transportation. Now, if you remember, we made a deal with the Panama Canal, and now America's over it. Don't like BlackRock over it. Again, fully against that. But America has interest now there. The thing about trade, the thing about tariffs, the thing about rebuilding the way we do business across the world is all about moving ships in and out, moving freight in and out. This is in our hemisphere. Venezuela is in our hemisphere. We had a communist dictator at the back door, not only spreading propaganda against us, but having one of the biggest oil reserves. Not only that, hurting his people and then sending drugs over to America to harm our children. So this was a strategic move, not only to really say, okay, this is the place that we needed because we don't want to cause any problem with our trade with the Panama Canal. We don't want any problems from these little leaders who are very strong, who have a strong economy, who's ripped off their people and is constantly making threats. We've got to get rid of them. I want you to listen to what Michael Flynn just said, and then we're going to jump into the Kobayashi letter and what they said, because they brought up some strong facts that are very, very good that we need to talk about. But first, let's just go to what Michael Flynn said. General Mike Flynn, I think this was a great, great statement that he stated. It says, everyone better pay attention. The world just changed course. It's not simply about energy, but also about access and control. Now, we're going to talk about how much energy we just got. Trillions, people. You wonder about our debt? We could take this. Forget the Democrats, forget the Congress, the Republican rhinos, forget all of them. Trump could turn around and do what I'm fixing to tell you and pay our debts off to a point where it's almost zero. Wait till you hear what I say. Wait, just stick with me. Just hear me out. But let's just go what Mike Flynn says. This is not just about energy, it's about access and control. The Panama Canal must be controlled by the U.S., which we've done. The Caribbean and all key straits in the Gulf of America must be controlled. Bam, we've done that. The financial markets and global wealth must be controlled by the United States. We just took over one of the biggest energy commodities in the world. Wait, access to beachfront property in Venezuela afforded by China, Russia, Hamas, Hezbollah, and other drug cartels. That means they had access to that port and they had strategic benefits to our hemisphere because of Venezuela and its communist regime that stood with Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, Russia, and China. It's not just about the oil, it's so much more. And you hear, my gosh, Candace Tucker, all these other people are already coming out and like, he's doing it for the Jews. I'm so sick of this. I'm like, it's such a lazy thing that when it comes across my feed, I just ignore it because it's unbelievable that now now Candace and Tucker are literally saying that Maduro's not that bad. He's actually a pretty great guy. He's a conservative. He's a communist and hurts his people, but he's a conservative. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of these people who try to ride Trump's coattails and then throw stones at him every time they get. Congress is one of those things. Congress right now is up in arms. They're flailing and throwing themselves on the ground, crying like little babies, including Thomas Massie and Rand Paul, who are like, oh, they need Congress. We've got to decide if this is going to war. Well, we're not going to war. We're making a strike. Here's another thing. What has Congress done for you and done for this administration that actually has done anything to help the American people and to help the president? They need to go sit back down at the children's table and stay over there and be petty and steal our money like they're doing. They're robbing us blind, but now they're mad that the president is actually doing what is good for America. You heard what Mike Flynn said. Now listen to what Kobayashi Letter said, because this is when you hear all these stupid pundits and you hear all these liberals and all these rhinos try to kowtow and tell you that they're right and you're wrong. I want you to listen to the facts. This is what is so important. This is huge. I'm just going to read a few things from the Kobayashi Letter. Again, I shared all this on Twitter, so if you're following me on Twitter X, I shared all this so you would already know. But listen, it says, while everyone is focused on oil, Venezuela currently holds 161 metric tons of gold reserves. 161 metric tons, roughly 5.18 million troy ounces. That's worth $22 billion in today's market. $22 billion, okay? This makes Venezuela a Latin American country the largest of gold holdings. Every $100 that gold rises, the holdings gain $518 million in value. Controlling Venezuela is set to produce hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue. See, this is what, again, I want to go back and say this. We're not hurting the Venezuelan people. They're excited about this. Not only are they excited about it, they're saying, look, we can split the profits. Trump's even saying, look, we're going to help them. We're going to help ourselves. So look, this is the gold, $22 billion worth of gold. And every time it goes up, it's worth another $500 million. But let's keep on going. That's just one. Let's keep on going. Venezuela currently has, I want you to listen to this list. Now, this is, again, shared by Kobayashi Letter. 200 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserve. That's the 34th largest in the world. 300 billion barrels of crude oil reserves. That's the largest in the world. Wait till you hear what it's worth at today's pricing. 4 billion tons of iron ore reserves, worth 600 billion. 8,000 tons of gold resources, largest in Latin America, like we just talked about. 500 million tons of coal reserves. 2% of the world's total renewable freshwater resources. Untapped strategic mining, including nickel, copper, and phosphates. Venezuela just became one of the best strategic U.S. assets. Now I'm going to read this last one that they shared, because this is probably the biggest. Now we're in $38 trillion worth of debt. Thank you to Congress, because they love spending our money. They love taxing us and spending our money. Now listen to this. This is where it gets real serious, and I hope someone is listening. Venezuela currently holds 303 billion barrels of crude oil reserves. Trump just now said that he controls that. Basically, he stated that he will control Venezuela and the movement of all these things that we already discussed. This is not us governing Venezuela. This is us getting what we deserve. Because, again, if we want to be the empire, if we want to be the rulers of this hemisphere and make sure that we're taking care of people, it kind of means we have to do this. I'm sorry. Now, I know a lot of people get so upset and they're used to eating their mashed potatoes or someone chewing up their food for us. But if we live in a world that's so evil, sometimes we have to take out the evil players and be the American empire we're supposed to be. Sorry. It's just true. Listen to this. Let's keep on going with this, though, because this is the point. Oil pricing at trading at $57 a barrel. That means, remember, it's very, very low right now. Very, very low. Because we've got gas prices down. Kudos to Trump. But at today's pricing, at the lowest price of barrel, so say this doubles, which it very well could very, very soon, because it has. It's easily been $100 a barrel. But let's just say it's $57 a barrel. That market price is $8 trillion. Almost $9 trillion. And Trump said he's going to be over it and help sell it, and America will recoup its money. The oil companies will get back what they've built, the infrastructure, but he said America will take the money. In other words, in 12 hours, the U.S. has gained control of oil reserves worth more than the entire GDP of all the countries in the world except for the U.S. and China. Listen to what I just said. They just took over. The amount of crude that he's willing to sell is going to be worth more than any country in the world other than China and U.S. That's 4 times larger than the GDP of Japan. Most people do not realize what this actually means. If we become over all this, this could be $8 to $10 trillion worth of excess money that we could split with the Venezuelan people and get a better leader, get a more proven friend. Now people are like, oh, this is just regime change. What do you flippin' want? Do you want a communist or someone who can be a friend of China and North Korea and Pakistan and all these other countries and bring drugs to our children? Is this what you want, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson? Or do we want regime change? Of course we want regime change. This is not a neoconservative movement. This is not a warmonger Lindsey Graham talking point. This is just common flippin' sense. Even Mike Flynn, even some of the biggest players in the game are saying this was a good move. It's going to bring huge amounts of wealth to America. If you haven't realized, America is going broke because of the trillions that your Congress now are complaining that Trump did this. They're complaining that they didn't have a seat at the table, and they can't even pick what color carpet they're going to use. It's worse than old people fighting over the carpet in a church is the Congress, because they can't do nothing. They've been the lowest successful pass rate of any Congress, Republican or Democrat, and they're griping that Trump just may have made $5 to $10 trillion to put back into America's hands. That is huge. Now, let me clean the record up right quick. I do not believe that we need to do this all over the world. I don't believe we should even be in the other hemisphere fighting any wars unless they pick on someone and it's legitimate. I don't believe we should be fighting Middle Eastern wars, Russia and Ukraine wars. I don't believe we should be fighting anything. But when it's in our backyard, I believe we should be fighting and taking care of our people. Look at the statistics of drug overdose before Trump got into office. Look at the statistics of what come across the border, what come from Venezuela. Look at the statistics and look at them now. Trump's cut it, to a point where crime and drug use is down. Not only that, we just took out one of the main sources of our enemies in our hemisphere, dealing with trade, tariffs, reserves, energy. Not only that, we're getting back and recouping maybe a friend in this hemisphere and not an enemy. This was a phenomenal move. Now, you're going to hear both sides gripe and complain, and you're going to hear both sides be cheerleaders to Trump. I don't want to say that I'm on the right rhinos or the establishment Republicans that are happy because they like war like Lindsey Graham. I'm not like that at all. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like Tucker Carlson and throw stones because, to be honest with you, I believe Maduro's a good guy. That's if you go back and look at what Tucker just shared, he just talked about how amazing Maduro was, how amazing Venezuela was under him. But there's people in the streets now so thankful that they have a regime change. Now they can pick who they want, and it will be a friend of America. This was a phenomenal move. You may not like it, but we're in the business in America to keep Americans safe. We're in the business of not allowing our economy to topple. We're in the business to strengthen our dollar. We're in the business of keeping our grid going. And I'm sorry to tell you, sometimes it takes this, and this was a boss move. And I'm honestly completely happy that this happened. Now let's do this in California, Illinois, and New York. We need to clean up our mess in here at home. That's definitely more important. But this was a good move. Now again, I want to see America thrive. And I've told you this before, and we've talked about this the last few days. If we don't fix our money problem, if we don't fix our grid problem, if we don't fix our reliance on China, if we don't fix some of these problems, especially Congress, if we don't fix some of this, we're going to end this America experience. We're going to end the empire. This was a good, bold move that ended up being a risk, but Trump succeeded in the risk, and this is going to end up being very, very good for America and its economy. Watch. Next week, it's going to be shock. Monday will probably be shock. It will actually be shock when you see this Monday. And the first, tonight is when the first futures open with the gas and petroleum and all that across the world. It may be a shock, but you watch. You're paying less for gas now. Watch what it does and the economy, how it starts really booming, especially when we start selling some of this stuff. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. You may not agree. I'd love to hear from you. But even though it's unpopular, this is a very good move. Let me know your thoughts. God bless. Be free.